What really happened when Taehyung suddenly shared his childhood photos, and why did those innocent images spark such an intense emotional wave across the internet? Have you ever wondered what a global icon looked like before the fame? Before the stage lights, before the world knew his name? If that question makes you pause, then you're already part of the story. Before you continue, stay with us until the end. And if this story moves you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to join the conversation. Your voice matters more than you think. No one expected it. There was no countdown, no dramatic announcement, no warning signs. And yet, in a digital world that rarely sleeps, one simple action managed to stop millions of scrolling fingers at once. When Taehyung quietly shared a series of childhood photos, the internet didn't just react, it erupted. Within moments, timelines were flooded with disbelief, nostalgia, laughter, tears, and an overwhelming sense of intimacy that fans around the world did not know they were missing. The photos were not polished, they were not styled, they were not designed to impress. And that was precisely why they became unforgettable. At first glance, the images felt almost too ordinary. A young boy with soft features, curious eyes, and a shy smile that hinted at both innocence and mischief. No luxury, no spotlight, no hint of the global superstar he would become. Yet within those frames lay something far more powerful than glamour: truth. Fans didn't just see a child, they saw a beginning. And beginnings have a way of shaking people more deeply than endings ever could. The reaction was immediate and intense. Social media transformed into a shared emotional space where fans from different countries, languages, and cultures responded as if they were all sitting in the same room, staring at the same family album. Comments poured in, not merely praising his cuteness, but reflecting on time itself. Many asked the same haunting question: how did this small, gentle-looking child grow into someone who carries the emotions of millions through music and art? Others admitted they felt unexpectedly emotional, as if the photos unlocked memories of their own childhoods, their own forgotten dreams. What made the moment even more powerful was the silence that surrounded it. Taehyung did not explain the photos in detail. There was no caption spelling out their meaning, no direct invitation for interpretation. Instead, he let the images speak. And in doing so, he gave fans the freedom to project their own stories onto his. That absence of explanation became a subtle clue, a quiet hint that this was not about nostalgia alone. It was about connection. As the images spread, the narrative shifted from admiration to reflection. Fans began to talk about growth, about the invisible years between childhood and stardom, about the sacrifices that rarely make headlines. The photos felt like a reminder that even those who seem untouchable today were once vulnerable, uncertain, and small. That realization hit hard. For many, it blurred the line between idol and human, between celebrity and self. Some fans described feeling protective, others felt proud, and many confessed they felt an unexpected ache in their chest. It was as if the photos had reopened an emotional door that had long been closed. The child in the images was not performing. He was simply existing. And in that simplicity, people found comfort. In a world obsessed with perfection, these imperfect, unguarded moments felt like a quiet rebellion. As conversations deepened, so did the questions. Why now? Why share these photos at this moment in his life? Was it a spontaneous decision, or a carefully considered gesture? Fans speculated endlessly, analyzing the timing, the expressions, the choice of images. Some believed it was a gift, a way of saying thank you by letting fans see a piece of his past. Others sensed something more emotional, perhaps a moment of personal reflection that Taehyung chose not to verbalize, but instead to show. What cannot be denied is the effect. The photos didn't just trend, they lingered. Days later, fans were still talking about them, sharing personal stories inspired by the images, discussing how seeing Taehyung as a child made them rethink their own journeys. Many wrote about their younger selves, about promises they once made, about how time changes people in ways both gentle and cruel. In this way, the photos became a mirror, reflecting not only Taehyung's past, but the inner worlds of those who saw them. There was also a sense of vulnerability that felt almost startling. For someone so often seen through the lens of performance, fashion, and global fame, Revealing childhood photos felt like lowering a shield. It was a reminder that behind the carefully curated public image lies a personal history shaped by family, environment, and experiences that the public will never fully know. That realization created a wave of respect that went beyond fandom. Emotionally, the response crossed generations. Older fans spoke about time slipping away too quickly, while younger fans expressed a desire to protect that child in the photo, even knowing he no longer needed protection. Parents commented about seeing their own children in those images. Artists spoke about inspiration. Ordinary people spoke about hope. The reach of that moment extended far beyond entertainment news. Interestingly, there was no scandal, no controversy, no negativity attached to the photos. In an online culture often fueled by conflict, this moment stood out for its warmth. It was not about debate, but about shared feeling. That alone made it rare. People weren't arguing. They were remembering. They weren't criticizing. They were connecting. The childhood photos also subtly reframed Taehyung's present identity. Fans revisited his music, his performances, and his words with new eyes, searching for traces of that child within the artist. Suddenly, certain emotions in his work felt clearer, more personal. The photos didn't change who he is. They added depth to how he is understood. What began as a simple post turned into a collective pause, a moment where the fast pace of digital life slowed, just enough for millions to feel something genuine. And perhaps that is the real reason the photos became such a powerful moment. They reminded people that behind every success story is a childhood filled with quiet days, small dreams, and unspoken fears. In the end, the story was never just about photos. It was about time, memory, and the fragile beauty of growth. It was about realizing that even the brightest stars once looked up at the sky, without knowing they would one day become one. And as fans continue to talk, reflect, and share their feelings, one thing becomes clear: those childhood images did more than show the past. They touched the present. So now, the question lingers, heavier than before. If one simple glimpse into the past can move millions, what other unseen moments shape the people we admire today? And perhaps more importantly, what moments from our own past still quietly shape who we are becoming? If this story made you feel something, share your thoughts in the comments. Like this story if it touched your heart, and subscribe so you don't miss the next moment that makes the world pause.